Welcome to Toffee TV. It is live at 5, the first live at 5 of the summer.
Close season.
Yes!
It's all over.
It's all over. You can stop worrying about it now. We're not playing in Europe. Although that conference trophy,
We've hit a milestone also.
What's the milestone?
50,500 subscribers.
I mean, I think you got at least
I mean, we're already
12 of them. I'd think, Ned.
12,
Maybe. I think you got more. His FIFA series seems very popular.
It is. It's doing well. It's good.
Come for Ned, stay for Cam. The two beefcakes of the channel.
We are the two.
The two what?
The two.
Finish that sentence.
The two Ronnies.
I mean, perfectly hitting the demographic there of your core audience.
Yeah, he's got him saying we're doing the two.
Oh, we're two Ronnies, we are. We're like Morecambe and Wise, we are. Of course, I'm Wise and he's Morecambe. I don't know why, but what's going on? Who's in the comments?
Luke Shade says, afternoon lads, are there any Everton players past or present you've completely disagreed on being boss or naff?
I think there are, yeah. I can't think of any at the top of my head, but I think there's definitely players that people have, I think, either a weird perception of. I think what happens is, and this is a general thing, I think some people think that there are players from the past that they may never have watched and get second-hand information about and think they're either really, really good or really, really bad, whereas I don't think it's quite the case. Like someone like Barry Horn is a really good one. For a large part of his Everton career, he was absolutely abysmal, like really, really bad. And then when Joe Royle came, it clicked. And
My mic not even in.
No.
I mean, does help if Baz is mic'd up, isn't it?
I'm not being funny. It's almost like we had the sound.
We remember when we got a sound engineer intern who would listen to make sure that
before you went on,
before you went on, because we've got so much to deal with as owners, presenters, producers, directors of a company, content creators,
planning,
creative directors, all that kind of thing. That sometimes just slipping in your mic can just you just forget.
You do.
You just forget.
Never forgot. Billy
never forgot. Billy was like,
just saying,
an elephant. Never forgot.
I
was trying to think of an animal there.
Calm as well. Calm elephant.
Always calm like an elephant. Not like he's like Stampy in the Simpsons. Remember Stampy?
Yeah.
And basically Homer said even elephants can be knobheads.
Yeah. There you go.
That's a bad slip, that, Ned. To be fair,
it is a bad slip.
I
mean, you haven't even got headphones on. You wouldn't even know what was going on.
You've
become so comfortable.
It's because if I'm talking, I've got my headphones on. I can hear twice myself.
He's worn down.
What I can't understand is why is he wearing a bathrobe?
Because that's how relaxed he is. Bathrobe.
He's walking around like Hugh Hefner.
Yes.
On Live at 5.
There's no playgirls in here or Playboy bunnies, whatever they're called.
That, but I don't know. I don't know. I've
seen them if there are.
I mean, Ned
if you were
him, would you share? Would you share them?
To be fair,
because the minute they see us, then like he becomes like a 3.
He's gone. He becomes the Luke. So Luke's saying to me, is there any me and you have agreed on where you think
agreed on,
disagreed, agreed, and
disagreed? The kids are saying agreed.
Just put them together. The way kids nowadays can't say as well. They all go as well, which is totally wrong.
Or a bar.
Yeah, a bar as well and all of that. That's what the agreed is. Agreed, disagreed.
So if any we've disagreed on?
You've thought he's good and I've thought he's crap or vice versa. There will have been. You don't think Cuco Martin is the worst player you've seen in Everton shit?
No, I don't.
I do. And I've seen a lot of bad Everton players.
I actually don't think he's the worst.
Horrific.
I mean, he's up there. He's up there. But I do. I mean, don't get me wrong. He literally went to the raffle at St Anne's Church on Egbert Road, won it, and become an Everton player, got a professional. Either that or it was a Sky One game show where the winner won a chance to be trained with Everton and somehow slipped through the cracks.
Somehow he played.
He was like, no one like at odd times the BBC have like got guests on. Remember like that fella who got him on? He was like,
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm not supposed to be here. It was like that. It's like someone pushed him through the wrong room on a tour of Goodison. And somehow he's ended up on the pitch.
Fair play. Steve P says, Baz, do you remember Roy Mackay? Yes, Dutch forward.
What a player.
What a player. He said, I completely forgot about him till I saw.
I'm not... If you're talking about outright centre forwards who could put the ball in the back of the net, Roy Mackay was amazing. Did he ever play in the Premier League?
No. I don't know. There was loads of rumours. Did he go to Blackburn? No, he did. There was loads of rumours. He was brilliant for that. Oh, he was at Bayern. And Deportivo, he was brilliant.
What a player.
I seen that goal yesterday on Twitter, Luke Nillis against Chelsea when he flicked it up and volleyed it for Villa on his debut. And then 2 weeks later, he got his career ended, didn't he? Got in a clash with was it West Ham player or he'd done his leg and never ever played again.
No,
but
right, would you say
Casaragi's another one.
Because I think this is would be a quite interesting question, and I know it would be for Everton in the terms of players we have. But do you think there's always more terrible buys than there are good buys? Because I do. I think in general, I think if you were to go through a list of the players who've been brought in, certainly from overseas to the Premier League, I think you just go, what? Who? Like some of them are like big buys as well, where people have been certainly in like that spell between like say 97 to I'd say like 2003. You only had to have a foreign name, and you were getting brought in, and the money like for ridiculous money because everyone was just grab. I mean, it happened after the '94 World Cup as well. You know, there was a list of players. Like we got Ancelotti for 3 million, where if we'd bought him beforehand, probably could have got him for like 100,000. But because that World Cup blew up so much and become such a big TV spectacle, which I basically hold Diana Ross responsible for. She set the tone for that World Cup. So anyway, coming to Everton players, it really inflated. Like Martin Darling went to Blackburn and he was like really hit and miss. And it was the kid who scored 5 for Russia and then went to Rangers and he was rubbish. It was like little things like that. It's like
that's people panicking now, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what you see them in them tournaments and think we can get. Liverpool had it with Diouf and Sally Diao, didn't he? Yeah. Senegal were brilliant in the 02 World Cup. And all of a sudden, you know, they bought them and that was it. It was gone, wasn't it? It was gone. What else have we got here? Time difference. The mighty T-Man says, hey lads, how's it going? Yeah, it's good. It's good. He's also been really enjoying the FIFA series.
There you go.
Thank you.
There will be a PES series as well.
Yeah.
We will get a PES series. What are we going to do? See, I think we should do a Masters League instead of doing a straight just Everton side, because I'll be honest with you, I loved when we did the classic Everton team on PES. I loved it. It was amazing. And we had classic kits and we had classic players and we had like an 80s team and then we had a Premier League All-Star team. Yeah. And I really couldn't be bothered when it went to like the season, the players from a particular season. But when it was like the generation ones, I loved it. And I'm thinking now we do a Masters League one where we actually build our own Everton side from scratch. And there's a little bit of actual competition to it, a bit of strategy to it, where we're bringing players in and that kind of thing. I mean, I'm looking for some kind of feedback on this.
I'm thinking about it and going.
I feel like I'm just getting.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Because it's a bit interesting.
Because I think that's the beauty of what Ned and
me and Cam are joint managers on FIFA, and we're bringing our own. You know, we're also the director of our own football club.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
So we're bringing. So maybe if you did the same sort of thing on PES and see where we could. It's sort of like a competition. Who can finish? Who can get Everton higher? At the moment, we're
apples and oranges.
We're smashing it.
You know, apples and oranges. We don't get to pick maybe real world players as such,
and we play on a hard level.
So do we. We played our first one on Legendary. Got beat 9-0.
Yeah,
doing the rest on world class. We've gone back to.
You were on professional.
Let's not talk about.
We did one professional, but
let's
it was
not talk about levels. That muddies the water. Yeah. But I think that could be interesting because it brings up an interesting situation.
Want some Patreon comments?
Yeah, give us some Patreon ones because obviously Baz is having a deep think there.
I'm looking at people like Michael Smith saying, why does Baz and the stats fella make a transfer? She don't demand the club sign players.
Because they want to.
Stupid idea.
Fully Billy Piper.
Don't watch it then, mate.
Fully Billy Piper. Fully
clown.
Fully.
I don't understand why people go. Why do people do that? If you don't like it, you just don't watch it.
I just wouldn't have read the comments.
No, but I like to have the.
When you say I'm the aggressive one,
I'm not. I just find it mad that people have that mad thing of like why it's the whole thing, isn't it? It's
someone came on the
base thing of like if you don't like it. Just don't watch it.
What about like the article in the Athletic today, which is basically ripping the whole club apart?
Oh, the Athletic article destroyed.
Should they not? Should that not happen?
No, you should.
Should we not? Should we not hold anybody to account for their failings?
But it's not that. It's like the thing is, why would you make a video about who we should buy? Well, of course we should.
What we could do is we could go outside to the park, sit and create daffodil, create dandelion things or whatever. I don't know.
Daisy change.
Daisy. Well, I don't know about that part. Come on, sort of that. But and just pretend that everything in the world is all right and fine, and just get on with it.
Oh, but you're always gonna create those videos because that's what it's all about.
And also, Andy, the Piv, quite literally, that's his job. Like, quite literally, that is his job. He is a technical scout. That's literally what he does for a living. And what we do for a living is make videos. So if you put them together, you've got heart to heart. Which is a reference nobody will get.
Pastel just said, why have you just brought Cuca Martina up? I've only just got over him. I know, sorry, I should have warned you. I should have defo warned you.
Know what I like? I like our ratio to players signed that are now do not have clubs. The ratio... You can always tell a player by what happens to them after they leave your club. Ours mostly go down.
Sol said, hope your day is going well, lads. Really hope Brands and Ancelotti look at the Championship this window. Plenty of talent there and physically cheaper. Elijah and Armstrong for me.
There you go. Ned, go on, do some Patreon ones. Don't make, these guys are feeling left out.
Benjamin Fairclough in at number 1, of course.
There you go.
Says hello.
Speak up a bit, Ned. Come on, project. Come on, project.
Jake Thompson says second. Well, that's probably the best you're going to get, to be honest. You may as well call it first, because Benjamin's sealed first forever. RCO2, lads, we're only 8 points off Champions League. Next season, we really need to go for it and buy players who fit the metrics. We need to get top 5, top 6. He also says if we get a winger who's a project player but has a history of not getting over 0.4 goals and assists per game, then this club's a joke. Possibly. Although if 0.4 goals per game and he plays 38 games, isn't that a good goal return? That's like just under 10 goals.
Is not here to work it out. So.
It's better than 0 goals per game. Richard Parr, evening lads, hope all is well. RCO2, we need a winger to come in and add a minimum 15 goals and assists combined. Yeah, absolutely. Richard Parr, offering Broadhead a new contract, meet the new Everton, same as the old Everton. Well, what do you two think on the Broadhead contract?
Nice segue there, Ned, because I was going to grab that. So well done. I understand what they're doing. I understand they've got a player there that they believe could fetch some money. He's had first team squad experience. He's got on the pitch in a Premier League game. If he was a Liverpool player, he'd now be worth £47 million.
Yeah, brilliant at it, aren't he?
Now, this to me is it demonstrates the old and the new of Everton. Sadly, in terms of the old, what it demonstrates is that this is why they give Pennington a new contract, because they thought, because of everything he had going for him, that if they give him a new contract, someone would snap their hands off. So it stinks of a bit of that. But I think what they're looking at now is, I think they've probably thought, well, we have made that much progress with him in the last year. He's gone from playing for a League One team. Now he's in the Premier League squad. He scored lots of goals in the under-23s. He's very confident in the 20, which is never a really, but he has been on the bench for Everton this season. He has been in the Premier League now. He's played in the Premier League games, come on against Brighton. So they're probably thinking the progress we've made in the last year, we can't afford to waste that. So if we give him 2 years, it's not like Pennington, because Pennington was 24 when he got that contract. They're probably thinking, we've made loads of progress with him this year. We can't waste that by allowing it to go on a free transfer. And maybe what they're thinking is, if there's a lot of people out there who are knocking on the door trying to sign him, those people will still be knocking on the door in 12 months' time if he keeps going. I don't know whether he's good enough to be in the Premier League. I've got a fair idea that he's not. But they might be thinking, well, if we keep going with that progress, someone will come and we'll make our money on him. It's about 2 years too late for me, and maybe in the future we won't leave it. Maybe he'll be the last one this happens to.
Maybe.
I'm hoping. I don't know, but what are your thoughts, Baz?
No, he's 23 and he's had 90 seconds of Premier League action. Richarlison's 23, 24 and has played in Copa Americas and stuff. So if you're looking at him coming through that way, it seems a bit odd. I think if we thought that highly of him, why didn't we give the lad a go near the end of the season? Why didn't we get him on in a few of the games, like Sheffield United at home and stuff? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because we needed a striker. King was in and out of squads at the end because he was injured or whatever.
We had 8 men on the bench.
That's what I mean. So why weren't we using him? But it probably is for that simple reason that they think if they give him another deal and he does improve, we'll get money for him. Someone will come and buy him. So if I was the lad though, I'd be looking at it thinking, well, what else is there? Because if I commit here and nothing there, because like we had Nathaniel Markello do it last year and gone on loan to 20 and he's played like say half the games, but what's he going to do? He's got a year left on the deal. Is he coming back to Everton to do what? Do you know, he's not going to get in our team. So I think you've got to, at that age, 23, 24, I think for Nathan, he's got to look at it and go, what's the best thing for me? He might feel like he can get in this squad. And that's fine. It's good having confidence in yourself. So fair enough, he thinks he can get in. But I think he does need to look at it. It's not as simple as just signing a new deal with Everton because he's like you say, he's like 23. You've got to. Just reminds me a little bit of Conor McElhenney, who stayed a little bit too long. And then Connolly's played. Yeah, he's had loans, hasn't he? But McElhenney, however you say his name, he was another like striker who did all right, scored a few pre-season goals for Everton and things like that, but he stayed a little bit too long and then it was hard to...
I think for these players, what they need to do is go away, get their feet under the door somewhere and build it up. I've just seen today, Gethin Jones has just signed I think a 2 or a 3 year contract at Bolton. You know, back in the Championship. I think they are, aren't they? Back in the Championship?
Bolton.
They're in the Championship.
Got up, did they get up?
Yeah.
No, they did get promoted.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure if they were it. So they've gone up.
Gone back up, yeah.
He signed a really good deal. He's now got a stable club where he can, how old is he, 25, 26? You know, and that to me is progress. You know what? Anthony Robinson went to Wigan. You know, went for a loan and then went out and then played in the Premier League for a year. He'll go back to the Championship this year, but he'll be playing at a top Championship team this year, trying to fight their way back to the Premier League. He's back in the American squad. That, to me, is personal progress. You have to know, certainly as a player, when you're done.
Well, he wanted to get out, Robinson.
No, that's what I'm saying.
To play games,
it's personal responsibility to know when you're done.
Dal did the same, didn't he? Dal said the same of like, he could have hung around, but he knew that he wanted to go and play, and he's gone off to Norwich, finished the season really strongly, he's back in the Premier League. Now we'll see what he does next year. He might have Dal's got a great left foot. Now if he puts it together with the work ethic and stuff in the Premier League, he could become a really good player.
I think the player and their agents have to know, and I just don't see the future for this lad. I think it's Everton doing their part. Everton are thinking, well, we're not asked. We want money for you another year. You know, that's the way they're looking at it. We can get money. Look, they got money for Dal, they got money for Anthony Robinson. They've had money for others, but others have walked out the door with nothing. And Everton are trying to protect the assets. I understand that. For the money you probably be on a week, it would be worth to do it. But some of the lad's career, I would never sign a contract with Everton. I'd look at the options at Ed and think, I'm not getting in that team. I need to go elsewhere and build my career from the bottom up. And that's what it'll take. He'll have suitors in League One and the Championship, of course he will. If he's good enough, he'll work his way back. But it's a lot harder to work your way back if you're at Pennington and you're 27, nearly 27,
difficult.
And you're playing for Shrewsbury, and you're basically the equivalent of like a journeyman. Look at like the Dingo with Samir, played every game for Samir.
Peter Clark.
39, has had a fantastic career in the lower levels. Not good enough to play in the Premier League, but didn't waste his time at a football club that was not going to use him. Everton used to be fantastic at just getting rid of players. They just Moyes should just know. You just go, you're not good enough to get in this team. Go and have a good career somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that's what sometimes...
It's being responsible,
It's your own career, isn't it? And what we have seen in the last few years is...
Kids not in League One.
Yeah, I thought it was. I didn't think it was Championship.
He went down, back up. But they have got promoted.
But kids make their way back up. The lad at Sheffield United.
Yeah.
What's his name? Lundstrom. He's on a free this year. Good chance he could stay in the Premier League. Someone might look at him and go, he's got great work ethic. Bring him in on a free, keep him in the Premier League, or he'll go to the Championship. But he's not looked back since he left Everton.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of them out there, and I think it'd be better for him to leave Everton.
To go and do it, yeah. Fair enough. Albie says Toffee TV, best in the world. Thank you. Steve London said, great show, lads. Keep it up. Colin Huxman says, who was worse, Sandro, Nias or Coney?
Nias. Yeah. Coney scored goals. Coney scored.
Sandro had a little bit of skill. He was never good enough for the Premier League, but Nias was just... Nias scored important goals.
No, he did. I'll give him that.
He shouldn't have been here.
I mean, he scored more than Sandro. Sandro never scored a Premier League goal.
No, he should. One against Atlanta.
Good
goal, but we got battered 5-1. One in a friendly with the great kit on.
Best kit.
There you go. Josh Dowling says, all right, boys, what's this I'm hearing about Mashiri getting involved in football decisions and not letting brands do the job? He's ruining the club if that's so. The Athletic article seems to think that brands do, and the Echo seems to think that brands does do all the jobs. So
I don't know.
Mashiri's definitely over years.
Where's that come from? I mean, that was 2 years ago.
He's definitely stuck his nose in the past. Whether he's still doing it now, no idea. But you can't ever move forward if the owner's going against what other people want, can you? Because you're always going to come up with mixed. I mean, maybe that's why we are where we are in the past, because we have done that, but we can't carry on doing that. Otherwise, we've got no chance, have we? Sophie Gallagher says, do you fear that we'll end up with more old players looking for a last payday? I do. I don't have a good feeling about this summer transfer window.
Well, the proof will be in the pudding, won't it? I think that's what we're all waiting for this summer. I don't think you can speculate on it. I think you just got to let it happen. And then, because what else, what can we do? They've had plenty of time now to work out what we need, the kind of player we need, and they have to just get it done. And listen, I'll be honest with you, I've sat at this stage of the year worrying about would we bring anybody in, or some of the names we were linked with when we were Walter Smith, or some other years when we were literally scraping the bottom of the barrel. The world now is a smaller place in terms of recruitment. It's a lot easier to find these rough diamonds. There's plenty out there, and we've just got to hope that the people at the club are going to earn the money. That's all you can hope. And we certainly don't want old players, overpaid old players who are coming for one last payday. We want young, hungry players at our club now. We've got experienced players in the squad. I think we've got enough of them. If someone offered me Koulibaly, would I take it? Maybe that would be the only one. Maybe. But it'd have to be at the right price for a start. But that might be the only one that I'd be willing to think about if they got rid of Keane and if they got rid of Holgate to make room financially as well. I think that would be the only one I'd be willing to take a chance on. Just because he is such a good player. But in the main, I want Ben Godfrey prototypes.
Yeah, they're what you need, aren't they? Young players that can get around the pitch. Because we simply just don't have enough of them, do we? We don't have enough of them. James Gunn says Everton should go for Zakaria. Gladbach won 30 million. He's only got a year left though, hasn't he? 30, but 12 months left on a contract, I think, is a little bit steep in this market.
I think he'll go United. I think he's so good, Zakaria. I think he'll go United. They should have got him instead of Van Beek.
United.
That's what they need is Zakaria. They've got Fred, but they needed Zakaria.
Are they really gonna buy in that area though? Aren't they gonna be looking more at? They're certainly gonna be looking at Sancho, aren't they? And then there's the Kane situation.
Yeah.
They do need a centre midfielder. I just don't know whether they'd be willing to look there this summer. But I mean, listen, they've got
Brainerd says Anguissa would change our midfield. Yeah, he'd be good. He would be good, Anguissa, because he can carry the ball as well. He can do the other stuff, but he can carry the ball.
They can have a Wobie, and we'll have.
But he dropped down to the Championship.
Of course he wouldn't.
Brainerd also says a lot of Championships clubs would go in for Holgate.
Championship? No, Holgate's still a Premier League player. Of course he is. Still a Premier League.
Who do you think would come in for him?
A promoted side.
Do you?
One of the promoted sides would probably look at him. Southampton. I think Southampton would suit him. Leeds, maybe. Because he's a Yorkshire lad.
Yeah, possibly. Newcastle did want him, didn't he, a year ago? Maybe. Interesting. It'd be interesting to see whether Everton feel like they want to sell him now. That's the big thing, isn't it? JS says, hey lads, how's it going? Froome Pinto says, Baz, would you take Jack Harrison? Entering the final 12 months at City, look great this season, could be a cheap buy. I'd have Jack Harrison.
He's only gone one place.
The what?
He's only gone one place.
Where?
Leeds. He is though. He's only going to go.
He probably will stay there, but yeah, I'd have him because he scores goals. He had a great season for Leeds this season. Full of energy. I liked him at New York City. Full of energy.
Played on the right wing at New York City as well.
He played both. So played both sides. Played left wing back as well at times.
Right
great recruitment for Manchester City.
Really
great
good.
Recruitment. Clever recruitment.
But yeah, I'd have him 100%. Energetic, quick, works hard.
Doesn't take much, does it?
No.
Doesn't take much.
But he does have goals as well. He's not just not very good, as he's a good player.
No, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't take much.
Yeah. Where are we? Yeah. Joseph Carey, Baz, how many players would you get rid of? Well, the difficult thing, there's loads. There's not many I wouldn't get rid of, but the difficulty is
replacing them.
How you can, who's going to take them and who you can replace them with, isn't it? There's good players in the squad. There's definitely good players in the squad, and there's players that we can get more out of. But without players, people coming in to buy those players, what do you do? We can't. I've seen a couple of comments of like, these have said this, and we need to be ruthless and just get rid of these players.
You
but
can't
you
just
can't just sack them players because it hammers you. We're already hamstrung on FFP and stuff, so you've got to do it cleverly. Now, you've got to go through your team and think of who's valuable to you, who will still add value, and who can improve your team. There's half a dozen in that Everton squad who you'd have no problem getting rid of. I don't mean you wouldn't have any problem people buying them, but you'd have no problem going, get him out the door. And you're talking a Wobie, you're talking Andre Gomez, Fabian Delph would be straight out the door. Obviously, Josh King's gone.
It's the art,
Bernard,
though, isn't it?
But it's getting rid of.
It's the art of selling and buying, isn't it? It really is. That's the art of knowing when to sell, when to buy, positioning players, and
it's also having enough players who are coming through. Like like Klopp likes to carry 17 players. I think he said 18 players, and then the rest are made up of the 23s. Yet their lads who are in their 23s seem to be ahead of ours. You know what I mean? So I think for Everton, you'd look next season and go, well, Tyler Onyango in the squad, in the Everton squad as a sub, and Kunku.
Doesn't that come down to something you've said though a few times, of those lads will be getting the step up to training and have to compete with some of the best players in the world, in their positions, and after it's the thing with Foden at Man City. He's had to live on the coattails of the best players in the world. So these young lads who are coming through at Manchester City and come through at Liverpool, they're going into training every day. They're seeing what they've got to compete against, and they've got to be, for a large part of the time, they're part of like the practice team, aren't they, at the end of the day?
Yeah.
So you've got to get to that level where the manager can rely on you in training and go, well, it's the first team versus all you today. You've got to do this because you're the competition, to allow them to go out on a Saturday and do what they need to do, because you've got to mirror what that side. And if you're playing like Everton when they play Leeds or someone, lads, come on, you're Leeds today.
There's no
right
chance, yeah.
But Everton, with your Liverpool, those lads are like, well, I want to get into that team because this team's just won the Premier League, just won the Champions League. If I break into this team, then I've established myself as a player. Look at the lad they've got at centre back at the moment, Liverpool. Nat Phillips, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He is. They're all loving him because he's got into the team and he's gone, I deserve to be here and I'm not going to be shifted out of this position. I mean, he will next season when they bring in this kid and the other fella comes back, Van Dijk. But he's gone, I'm going to make this my own. Whereas we don't seem to have that. We don't have first teamers who go in and kids who come in and make, it just seems, I've seen the thing as well saying that we are, us and Spurs are bottom of the table of introducing youth into the
But you can only introduce players who are good enough.
No, I know, that's the problem. It's chicken and egg, isn't it? It's chicken and egg.
You know, and Liverpool's wouldn't be so high because without injuries, and that's what I'm saying about them. If you go through, like, say, Liverpool's squad because they've just won the league, but you know that Klopp as a manager likes to carry a smaller set of players. Moyes did it with us. He only liked to carry 30. It was the thing that stopped them in a way, progressing, because he only liked to carry, and monetary-wise, we couldn't. They carry a small squad of players who they kind of trust. Everton, issue is that we carry a bigger squad because those players have been collected and we can't get them out. But the ideal situation would be to kick half of them out and to replace them with your Tyler Onyangos and your Thierry Smalls into a squad, and you know, maybe it'd be Ellis Sims next season. I don't know. He might have a loan, but the players who are coming through, so that in Jared Brantwaite, and then you've got Reece Wells coming through. So there is players who are physically ready. I think in 2 years' time, I do think we're going to have a good crop coming through. But it's what happens in that 2 years for those players and also for us. Yeah. See, this is where, again, the balancing act is really, really interesting. You know, we've got kids coming through who are 17 and 18. We've managed to get rid of a big pile of players who are and now these players are well thought of. So what do? You know, we've already seen the little rumblings with Terry Small. You know, we've heard that already. We were all panicking, or a lot of people started getting a panic about when he was saying, what's going on? Because he's 16 and he's thinking to himself, I've got Nkunku and I've got Luca Dean ahead of me. Now, Luca Dean, yes, by the time Thierry Smalls is 19, Luca Dean will be in his 30s, and you're starting to look at that crossover then. But what if he goes, well, hang on, I've got Nkunku, have I got to displace Nkunku as well? And Everton have got to manage those situations of do we go out and buy a centre-back now? See, for all we know, listen, take this with a pinch of salt, right? But all we know, we might be looking at someone like Koulibaly, right? Because he is 30. Because he will give us 2 years tops. And then one of those young players comes in off the back of him, rather than buying a 26-year-old centre-back or a 25. He comes in and he gets injured.
I'm not for it against.
That's what's happened, hasn't it?
I'm not for it against. What I'm saying is, do you bring a 24-year-old, 25-year-old centre-back in who stops the progress of a 17-year-old kid? We've already got Jared Brantwaite. So, you know, this is what I'm saying. It's not just a case of look at Gibson, right? Gibson signed a contract, right? Lewis Gibson signed a contract. He's been told he's got a pathway, and then Brantwaite pops up and Everton are like, too good to miss out on. Gotta get him. Everyone's after him. We get him, and Gibson's like that now and gone. They think this kid's more highly rated than me. 6 months ago, I was told I had a pathway. That's how quickly football can change. And I'm just wondering whether, and I'm not saying this is, I'm just wondering whether if Everton have got a couple of highly rated centre backs, they might, who at 17 and 18, Everton might decide, well, yeah, they'll come through, and we'll stopgap for 2 years with someone like Koulibaly, or even with what we've got now. And where people are looking for solutions now. Look at Dominic Calvert-Lewin, right? Remember when we were all bemoaning the fact that we didn't have a centre forward, or we weren't buying a centre forward, and Marcel Brands came out and said, we've got the centre forwards already at the club. He said, we've got Richarlison and we've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Okay, it took another year to bear fruit. But ultimately, in terms of goals, certainly for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he was proven right. Now, if he'd gone out and bought a 27-year-old striker, would Dominic Calvert-Lewin had broke through. If you've got a 27, 28-year-old who you've got to play, you pay a big amount for them, his wages are steep, you got all the pressures that go with having a player like that. You can't just, put it this way, right? If Moise Keane had been 27, you don't just leave him on the sidelines the way he was, because he was a kid. There's politics in football.
No.
So I wonder whether there's a little part of that. I don't know whether that's true or not. But who knows? They are the decisions, aren't they, that football clubs have to make. Long term, short term.
Yeah, definitely. Basic trigonometry says give the video a like. It takes a second, yet the likes are shocking today, to be honest. I know Everton are rubbish, but you're 500 that you're watching, you may as well give it a little like. Takes a sec. Joseph Carey says, Baz, you trust Ancelotti signing any players who are not has-beens? Well, what I would say to that is, if you look back to what he's kind of said since they come in last summer rather, he talked about Godfrey, not knowing Godfrey. Yeah. Talked about Decore not really being his decision. We know he wanted Alan and he wanted James, but they were all, I got the feeling they were almost like, I know what you're going to bring, so I want you in. And he's going to create, he said many times we needed to create more chances in the final third. Well, it's come out that James created a third of or bit more than a third of Everton's chances this season, and he hasn't played that many games. Well, you know, he has played games, but so he's brought creativity from someone who he knows, and I guess he thought he was bringing a bit of leadership from Alan. He's left Brands to bring in Branthwaite and Decore and to bring in Ben Godfrey as well. So I don't really see him, because I just don't think he's the type of person to go and demanding. But he might see 1 out of 3. He might go, well, we've got 5 who we're chasing this summer. But you keep saying it, right? I'm not saying Everton would get Koulibaly, but if it was a Koulibaly type fella, he might look and go, well, I want him because I know that he will come in and organise that defence the same way I knew that Alan would. Yeah. And James. The other 4, I'm happy to go with you because you know what model we want as a club. Maybe they do it like that. I don't see him going, I want Bale, Ramsey, Coutinho, because if he does do that, it's short-termism.
Also, last summer was like a really difficult market to work in. It's a shorter window, COVID restrictions everywhere. Those deals, I would imagine, were pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
Getting Decore out of Watford was easy. I'd imagine you're just haggling over a few million.
And we'd watched him before.
We got it done. It was easy. James was basically Real Madrid wanted shut, and we wanted him, and we worked out a good deal, and that was good for everyone.
Yeah.
And Alan felt like it dragged on, but behind the scenes they were probably just haggling. He always wanted to come. So that was all. I remember at the time saying that what's good about these 3 deals is they all want to come to Everton, and they were easy deals to do. Whereas sometimes when you are trying to, if you're in a, look at the Gabriel situation, it toed and froed for weeks and months nearly, and we stepped away, and then even right to the end, it was like, is he going to go to Napoli? Is he going to go to Arsenal? Man United were mentioned in the mix. We were still getting mentioned. That was a more difficult deal to get done, and we'd stepped away from it by then because we knew a bidding war was coming in. So it can be sometimes just a simple fact of what can we do quickly. Whereas this year we've had a little bit more time to think about it, a little bit more time to go through it as well in terms of putting a deal together. I imagine what we need, and hopefully, I mean, I'm not saying it will, but hopefully that means that we'll get better players who are younger and hungrier.
Yeah. Oh, fingers crossed. Lee Dolman says Jack Harrison, Pereira, Brooks, young, hungry players. Yeah, all good players as well. David Brooks, very good. Kieran Brownbill says, hey lads, hope you're well.
He'd have to leave then this year, wouldn't he?
Brooks, yeah, well he hasn't come up, have he? But it's again, if they want them 40...
He'd be on the Euros as well, won't he? So...
But Wales, if they want 40, there was like 40 million. People were saying that.
Not this summer.
20 million maximum, probably. Hey lads, hope you're well. Which new Florida ride are you most looking forward to? Tron, Velocicoaster, Guazi or Guardians?
Well,
Velocicoaster looks good.
Veloci's already open because Nick's been on it and he said it's amazing. He went a couple weeks ago. But I ain't getting to Florida for a very long time, so they ain't going to be new when I get there.
Velocicoaster does look boss.
It'll be Avengers Campus in LA when I
yeah,
go
that's
next
where
year.
you're going at. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Jason Moriarty, Conte leaving Inter. Yeah, it's a bit of a mad one, isn't it? Like, they reckon it's going to be Allegri, former Juventus manager, going there, so that's quite interesting.
Do you think Conte go back to Juventus?
Lille's manager stepped down as well.
Yeah, he's
been linked with Tottenham, hasn't he?
Yes, yeah. Galtier, yeah.
Mad.
Interesting. Very interesting. I don't know. Would he wanna go back there? Probably.
Time footy though, isn't it?
He's good though, isn't he? He's good at what he does.
Time footy's not like here. People move around, players move around. There's no thing about it. They're not asked. I mean, you seen the other day.
He won the league with Chelsea and went. He's won the league with Inter. Now he's gone.
Gattuso got sacked by Napoli 2 days later. He had a job at Fiorentina. They're not asked over there. They have a pool of managers. What you find in Italy is every manager has managed every club.
Yeah.
And then they'll go back to them as well, two or three times.
Yeah.
Just because it doesn't work one time doesn't mean it's very, very different to here. And I know here we have managers who go to, we had our Kendall 3 times. But over there, they don't care. There's no, people. Baggio documentary starts on Netflix today.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he played for every top club in Italy.
Yeah, it's mad. They don't have the same thing as here. It is weird. Bradley Lloyd says, what wingers you lads want? I'd like the Arby or Bailey. So basically a Leverkusen one. Because I think they're both fast, both score goals. And I just want to see some quick players at Everton. Fed up of watching players that turn back on themselves all the time. I want to see some direct pace because it's exciting to watch. Everton aren't exciting to watch. Joseph Carey says, you're both doing a great job, lads, but you must admit this is one of the most disorganised bunch of players we've had. What I would say, Joseph, I don't know whether it's disorganised because they've proven away from home in most games they are very organised, but I would say it's one of the...
It's
a team without character, I would say.
But it's years of bad signings all piled together, and it's like we're in the midst of it now. We're left with a big mess of sorts.
It's organised chaos, isn't it? Ultimately, it's organised chaos. It's getting a load of Tetris blocks to fit together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it only fits together when you play a defensive formation. It's not a team built to attack because it has got no pace in it. It's got no, apart from the forwards, which we don't use. We don't slip them in. We don't play over the top, which is frustrating. So a bit of that could be put on the manager to go longer now and again. It's just too much messing around with the ball at the back at times. It should just go long, and you should just keep doing it till it works. For me, I don't understand this thing of like you go long once, it doesn't work, so you stop. When you can pass the ball around the back a million times and it doesn't get you anywhere. What's that?
Didn't Gary Neville say this on Sunday? Apparently, we weren't. But apparently he said, like, why they're not good enough to pass it out from the back, so why don't
probably when one of our centre backs decided he was going to go on a run into
just knock it. I thought that's how we'd approach it Sunday. I thought we'd go there, have our shape, but just hit Dom long and get Richie running it and try to push them back a little bit because we can't out football Man City.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin scored more headed goals than anyone this season in the league, hasn't he? So if you put 20 crosses in a game and you get, say, 7 or 8 on Dom's head and they're all on, say, 5 of them are on target, you'd expect at least 2 or 3 of them to go in the net.
Exactly.
You put 2 crosses in and they go out for a goal kick because a Warby's crossed it in, and then you start trying something else, and what's the point?
But what about like the kind of ball that it got him in early? You know,
in behind.
We've seen that one, keeper makes a save. We've seen that against Wolves, keeper makes a save, and we've seen
the other one.
West Ham
got a penalty though from the other. We done 2 like kind of through balls at the weekend, and Dom had the shot early on. Richarlison got a penalty. Second half, he didn't try it once. So there is a very there seems to be they abandon what they're gonna do very early, or they try one thing and lose confidence in it instead of going, no, keep doing it. We keep doing it. And I just wonder if I wouldn't want to see Everton playing the long ball every 38 times a season, but there's games that you have to choose, and Man City, we can't play football against Man City, so therefore block everything off, go long and try to turn them and see what you get.
I thought against Wolves, certainly second half, what we did was we went long and we started playing in their half. Whereas what we've been doing is playing in our half, being picked off, and then, or we can't move forward because it allows everyone to go back. If you get the ball forward fast, and then you start higher up the pitch, the defenders can't get back quick enough. They push up. Dom's not going to be beaten by many people in the air. You know, Richarlison's good in the air. So if you get them the ball if you get the ball to the opposition's half and start from there, what's wrong with that? You're still playing football. What you've done is you've not bypassed your midfield. You've just bypassed your defence. And half the time, our centre backs are just playing around with the ball, and it's garbage. We've got the players to do it. Have not got the players to do it. Ned, do some patrons, mate. Feeling left out.
RCO2, we should move quick for either Diaby or Bailey, because one of them gets sold, the value of the other one will go up, because they don't want to sell both. They would be absolutely, at the moment, dream signings, wouldn't they, in our squad? But we'll see. Georgie says, boys, what do you reckon of Lille's manager? Should we rage the French market, and specifically that team? It's it's the director of football. I'd be after Louis Campos. Have you seen all of his dealings at Monaco and Lille?
It's a bit different though, France, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
The way they do stuff.
You can bed people in.
The
league's not as tough. But
they?
Thing with that is,
they have done brilliantly, to be fair.
Thing with that league is you can bed people in to the way, because the games are not as hard, and then you get them up to speed, and then you move them on to clubs like Everton. Some clubs are going early, and then you don't know if you're getting the final product. And it's that balance that we seem to struggle with. That's the problem. We seem to be looking at those players and going, nah. He said it himself, didn't he? Brandt said it himself. You look at players and then you think, they're not going to get time at Everton, and the system of the under-23s doesn't allow for players, and we don't play in enough competition to give these. So it's like, players need time to prove themselves. Ben Godfrey's proven that. He hasn't needed time, but they have to be they have to have a physical side of their game so that they can come in and hold their own, play footy at a certain level, and then shave off the rough edges.
Yeah.
So it's Lille would be those kind of clubs. This is why we've said loads of times that Everton need to buy a club abroad or get involved with a club abroad where we can do that, where we can buy a player, put them there, let them grow as a footballer at a higher standard, and then bring them into us the next year. That's what other clubs are doing now.
Yeah. Roger McGeever says, breaking news, Antonio Conte leaves Roller into Milan.
Mutual consent.
Yeah. So there you
well,
go.
as said, that they've got Chinese money involved, and apparently they're pulling out. The Chinese money's getting pulled out. So
it's all changing. Shinny Gamers says, the team might be rubbish, but the work these two put on isn't. Give us a like. Thank you, mate. Karen Lyon says, Sky News again, saying Everton are in for Coutinho.
Yeah. We wouldn't have learnt anything, would we, if that happens?
No, we should go, and that's not saying he's not a good footballer, because he is a good footballer, but it's not really what Everton.
No, it's not what Everton
need.
It's like having a big crack in your wall, isn't it? And just getting the nicest wallpaper you can buy,
and just putting it over it.
And just putting it over. I mean, literally, it's,
Stuart Thompson
wallpaper
says,
of the cracks.
Can we not slam the presenters for making decent content at a time when most of us were still wearing lube after the Man City game? Get a grip. I love the videos discussing. It was only one person, and he's gone. You can't please everybody.
That's what we do at the stage of the season. We're always looking ahead, and we're looking back. So there's a lot of season review content still to come out. Those on Patreon have already started getting it.
There's one out in 6 minutes.
And and there'll be is that the main season preview with Cam? Is it
the season review? Yeah.
So that's the season review. That's just like the
over.
Kane, wasn't it? Yeah, that's the over. But then we're breaking it down. Like DX.
Mike Barrett says, oh my word, end of season has brought out all the wham chatters.
But,
hello, YouTube.
Do you know what though?
Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
At this time of year, you will. This is when everyone now.
And people are frustrated.
This is where everyone's still in that little bit of anger situation of looking at the season and going, especially when you beat 5-0 at the end of the season. Don't forget, I know it wouldn't have made a difference, but if we'd somehow managed to get a positive result on Sunday, the world looks completely different. Yeah. That's what football's like. That is what football's like. What you need now is a couple of weeks And you'd love in those couple of weeks is Everton to do something. Is Everton to do something that they don't normally do. And that would make everyone go, oh my God. Now when you're seeing other clubs being linked with players or set these players, wouldn't you just love it if Everton did that and go, you know what lads, we already knew all this and we've bought them in. Here's one here. And then you have your Euros, and then before you know it, you're back in pre-season. So Everton better be quick, honey.
Well, we hope so. We'd love it. Anthony Young says, all right, lads, and you as well, Ned. Wouldn't Dom and Max Aarons be a perfect combination?
Am I not a lad? Am I not one of the lads?
No, you're not one of the lads.
Dom, Aarons throwing crosses in. Mike Cadwaller says Aarons full stop as well. Michael Winstanley says, this is what Martin has said about us. We need to play with confidence. It's been a long time. It is weird, isn't it? It's weird that we've never been able really to just get stuff going like regular. You know, like put something in place and be able to turn it over. It almost feels like you're starting again from every summer.
But the thing about it is though, Baz, we walked in here, the first thing we started talking about is the fact that we were talking about the kits. And, you know, one of our mates has bought the new kit in America and he's not going to get it till like the 20th of June. It's like, or whatever it was. Like, what's all that about? Like, every year they never learn anything, ever. Like, the kit comes out on the 4th of June and someone in America isn't getting it for another 2 weeks. It's like, why? Every year the same problems, like every year with Everton. It's not just the team. It's like no one at the club ever seems to get all the basic problems sorted out. No. You get the same problems every single year. You ordered a new kit and it comes out on the 4th of June. You could be, if you live in Mongolia or you live in Seattle or you live in Walton, you should be getting a knock on the door that day and some fella going, here's your new kit for you. Every year we get the same problems and we never seem to learn on the pitch, off the pitch or anywhere. It baffles me. It really baffles me that we continue to get stuff wrong at this club, and we wonder why fans are so worn out by it all when you can't even get the basics right.
Smig 1878 says we can't buy Coutinho. It's over if we do. I don't understand why. He's a great footballer, but he's 29. Again, and what if you get him? You pay him good money because it's what he wants, and then he comes in and gets injured again. He spent half the season injured this season anyway, so we wouldn't have learned, I don't think, by getting someone like that.
Because he's obviously a very, very pacey, strong, athletic kind of player, isn't he?
Who can have
very much in his peak
who
as
can
well.
Lead us into Champions League in the new stadium.
He's in his peak, isn't he?
Brainer says you think Napoli would do a Mina plus 35 million for Koulibaly.
35?
Do you reckon that Koulibaly? There's different reports. They were saying 30 to 40 million for him. So I'd say Mina's worth 20 easily.
They said 60 for Allen.
And they said 60 last summer, didn't he, for Allen, and we got him for 20. So I don't know. I wouldn't be... Koulibaly's good, but I don't know whether Everton would go for him, to be honest. But
if we needed a centre-back, and just a centre-back, or like...
if your team was pretty stable and
the whole team, there's far too much things to be worried about. If we manage
it has been proven, though. It has been proven in the Premier League, if you get a really, really good centre-back in,
you do, but Brainer does say he'd be the best defender at the club, though, if you got him Koulibaly, so it's fair enough. Barry Wells says, having watched Leeds this year a lot, I can't understand why all clubs don't introduce Bielsa's murder ball into training. They have done brilliantly.
Because you need the kind of players you can do it, don't you?
You need the knees.
If you watch the Leeds documentary on Amazon, those players, don't forget this is their 3rd year of playing this way. That first year in the Championship, most of their players had like muscle injuries by February.
Well, they were like top for the first
and
half.
That's why they never got promoted.
Like 10th or 11th.
So it's taken 3 years to get to that stage for those players. Last year, they had the break for COVID, which probably helped them massively. And this year, they've played off the back of that and finished the season really, really strong. But that takes a couple of years of that kind of training. But don't forget, when you're playing in the Championship, it's a lot easier when you're playing in the Championship. If he'd introduced that style in the Premier League, it would never have worked. Never have worked as far as I'm concerned. He needed to be in the Championship with good players, and listen, it didn't work straight away. So it's not if Bielsa came into Everton, he'd demand the same thing that Carlo is demanding: new players. He'd look at the squad and go, "Yeah, because these players,
four of them can run.
Tom Davis and Allen are really going to run around like absolute lunatics, aren't they? For 90 minutes every game for the entire season. Yeah, that's going to happen, isn't it? You need athletes. You need athletes. You need like the looks of Luke Ayling and team. But also what you need is a player like Calvin Phillips, who can pick the ball up and ping it all over the pitch. Who's like a quarterback. Because what he does when he picks it up, all their players just run at the defence, and the defence are like, I don't know what to do, and it just causes murder.
Yeah.
So
murder ball. There you go. Alex Jordan says Richarlison is not as good as people say he is. He doesn't ever try and take anyone on. Always passes backwards. Need a left winger and a right one. Okay. Mitchell says Hammers would have retired after one session of murder ball.
Exactly. You go, I'm on plane.
Froome Pinto says, should Everton invest in the loan market? They worked under Moyes for so many years.
It worked out in terms of 1 or 2, didn't it? It didn't work. You can't bring a team in, and we need a team. But it would help. It would help.
Michael Winstanley says I'd have loans from City. Yeah. Ed Bailey says Koulibaly, Baku or Aarons, literally any fast winger and an athletic centre midfield player. Selling Keane and others off the wage bill, it's defo possible to be successful next season. If we get the right people in, then we can have a good season next season. But it's about if you don't get the basics, and the basics in the Premier League is athleticism and pace. If you don't put that in your team, then you're at a disadvantage immediately with a lot of teams.
Yeah.
If you match,
Leeds have proved that.
Yeah, but if you match the work rate of certainly the bottom half teams, and you've got quality that we do have in the squad, then that quality comes on. You can beat the top teams as well as proven by other teams. But it is difficult. But you've got to make sure you're getting the right person, the right kind of profiling. And if we do that, then off we go. Michael Winstanley said the winning mentality was at the club and we let Rooney go again. Barry Wells says, yeah, Phillips is great at that, switching the play. He is. Shrikla Kandala says Moussa Diaby is the next Sadio Mane. Needs to pick him up ASAP. We do need to get him. That's who I'd be all over. But Ben McHugh says, are any of you doubting Carlo's the right man for the job? I have doubts.
No.
Who else is the?
I only have doubts. I only have doubts that the club can get him the players that he wants to justify having a manager like Carlo Ancelotti, if that makes sense. I don't doubt he's a good manager. I just doubt whether Everton can get him the players to show he's a good manager. I don't think he's a manager who suits certain type of players. It's always speculated on, isn't it? What would happen if Mourinho went into? Well, we've seen what happened when he went into Kropstad. But it's always speculated, what would Pep do if he came to Everton, would be able to have success? And the answer is no, he wouldn't have success. Pep Guardiola wouldn't have success with these players. Not a chance on earth. That's the way I think about it. I don't think Pep Guardiola could get a tune out of this lot. Not a chance.
Well, he only got City scraping in fourth in his first season, and then he went and spent 150 million on fullbacks because he didn't have the players he needed to do what he wanted to do.
You can only make good music if you've got the best instruments and the best performers. Am I right, Ned? I've listened to you, so I am right.
Yeah, but whatever you
yeah,
feel
I mean, thanks for
music.
listening. I mean, again, sound engineer. You can
I can make good music with a
say that,
a terrible guitar.
You say that. I don't think Pep. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I look at it. I don't think Pep Guardiola could win a tap with this team. I really don't think he could. So asking Carlo Ancelotti to do, is that any different? Is that any? I don't know. And when people say, yeah, but he would have coached him, I do think Carlo has coached them to play away from home. But I honestly don't think Pep Guardiola.
In the fastest, most physical league in the world, and you've got a team with no pace or power.
Yeah. You're going to struggle.
What do you expect?
Yeah, not wrong. You're not wrong. Hayden Evans Wood says, I find it funny that what we want is need pace, power, aggression and directness. But how would you describe Moise Keane? I'd say he could have all of those things now. But he didn't prove that, did he? Moise Keane's a good player, there's no question about it, but he didn't prove it when he was here. And we need it in midfield and in wide areas too. It's not just one thing. I think we need it in midfield and in wide areas personally.
The one thing I would say about Moise Keane is that what his signing did was it lifted Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but I just don't think it. I looked at Moise Keane and I really wanted it to work, but I just think with everything the way it went, he wasn't going to get opportunities. He was a young lad, and we've done fantastically to get him go there. And it is what Everton almost had to look at that deal as in like, is he long term? And I think after a while they realised he wasn't going to be long term because he was struggling to settle. And I think once that happened, they had to start preparing for how they were going to manoeuvre around the club. And going somewhere like Paris Saint-Germain, who you know's got money, and if he was successful, if it failed, he could come back and they could go to him. Well, it failed, so you're best having a go here. Yeah. But it hasn't. It worked in the whole. Okay, didn't play every game, and towards the end, he missed out on a lot of big games. But if they want him and we can make an extra 10 million on him, then that to me is good business. Because after a while, I looked at him and thought, you're never going to be our starting player. So, because I don't really think you believe that. So I think, is he about pace and power? Because all the goals he scores for Paris Saint-Germain seem to be like right place, right time, tap-ins. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe people have seen him pick the ball up and run with it, but I've not really seen that. So,
Ricky Kane on the super chat, nice one. Ricky says, evening gents, how many players do you think we can ship out and who'd be the first one to go? I'd get rid of Delph, Gomez and Bernard ASAP. Yeah, I wouldn't be against any of those three leaving, to be honest. The first one to get out, whoever comes in for them, because I think Everton will have a list of accept. You know, John Joe Kenny will be another one who I think Everton will be looking to sell. Maybe they're looking to move Yerry Mina out, just because of the injuries and the contract situation. I don't know. But I guess if you come into Everton and there's players like, maybe they'd listen to the bids for like Tom Davies and stuff like that. They might look and go, well, unless you're actually a starter, we're going to listen to offers for you. Maybe if you looked at it that way, that might happen. But
they'll have a list, don't they? They'll have a list of players who they're prepared to let go this summer. And what it might mean is if a Tom Davies went, then an Andre Gomez would stay. You know, or that kind
vice
of
versa,
you know,
maybe,
yeah,
because we can't
get rid of all.
Ideally, in an ideal world, you just move 10 out and bring 10 in and go, right, we've moved on.
In an ideal world, we'd be free to choose.
We would. But we can't, and we're hampered by FFP and the Premier League rules, so we have to be clever with what we do. But yeah, the 6 or 7 that I imagine we'd sell in a heartbeat, to be honest with you, Ricky. Brainerd says, Aaron's and Aguissa are no-brainers from me. It's just money, isn't it? I guess. Smig 1878 says, we can't make the same mistakes with signings like Walcott and Spurs not wanting Siggy 8 years ago. We need players with fire in their bellies. Yeah, I agree. That's exactly what we do, because I don't know whether there's enough of those players in our squad. I don't know. Danny Hayes says, remember when footballers had to have an ability to take a player on? To me, it seems a basic skill to have as a Premier League player. But Everton don't have one after spending hundreds of millions. That's shocking. It is mad, isn't it, Danny, that the amounts of money we've spent and our squad is totally bereft of players who can run at people and either dribble away past them or knock it and run past them, and our options are so unbalanced. That's what I find really difficult to accept. That 5 years ago Mashiri come in and it was like, let's spend money. Now we've had no money, we've had to do things a certain way, and if you'd have said 5 years ago we're going to spend close to £500 million on this squad, me personally would have been saying, well, we'll be in the Champions League then. Yeah,
it's incredible.
We'll have won a trophy because you've got that amount of money.
It's incredible and it's embarrassing. I've just noticed here, J.J. Abrams obviously does it the Everton way, because he's just acknowledged that he probably would have been better if he'd had approached Star Wars trilogy with a plan. So he's done it the Everton way.
He probably did, but he didn't get the second prequel though, did he? They give it to Ryan Johnson, who completely ruined the whole franchise. Fact.
Mad. Stuart Dane says, evening fellas, good show as normal. I keep seeing us linked with Zaha. Would you want him? No. Okay.
2 years ago, yes. Now, no.
Would you take him? Yeah, then. Would you take him if Palace come in and said, like, 20 million and a Wobie, and we'll give you Zaha?
They give us 20 million and a Wobie.
No, we pay 20 million plus a Wobie for Will Zaha.
No.
You wouldn't want that either.
No.
Because
just take a Wobie.
If you went like for like,
yeah,
he's better than a Wobie, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm not. I I wasn't that enamoured with him when we were going for him, because I was thinking, does he really give us what we're... But then what's gone on since? I wish we'd have got him. Don't get me wrong, but...
No, not for me.
No? Okay. All right. Gareth Davis says, David Brooks from Bournemouth, young, quick and skillful. We do like...
He's a good player. He's a good player. Yeah, I mean, he's not quite in the mould of player we're actually talking about. I'd be really interested to see what Bournemouth do with him, because you always get that thing in the first season you get relegated. It is that stick with us. You know, he had injuries as well, so we probably felt like he should have stuck with them. And they haven't been promoted, and now he's going to go to the Euros, so he's going to catch a few eyes. And I'd be very interested to see who would go for him, because I do believe there might be a few sides out there that would think he would be a great squad player.
I really like him.
I like him. Yeah. I like him. I think he's
very clever footballer.
Yeah, I think he is. And
makes great runs into the box.
Reminded me of Tim Cahill when I watched him play for Bournemouth when he come to Goodison.
As Nathaniel says, though, he is a little bit injury prone now. He has had a few.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, it's not great, is it? Buendia. What he says must be a target. A little bit. I don't think he's quick enough, mate.
He's another skillful. He's another one good on the ball. We just want someone with legs who can stretch the pitch. That's what we need. Not another one of these.
He's one of those players.
He's a good player.
He's one of those players that that again you want when you've got everything right and you're looking for that little bit extra. He's great, but we're like at the moment. That's house decoration. We're looking for bricks. Do you know what I mean? We're looking to build.
He does create a lot of chances.
We're looking to knock the house down and rebuild it.
We just want basic, greasy lightning speed.
Greasy lightning.
If you can catch chickens, you can catch lightning.
Mike Cadwaller that says Buendia almost gone to Villa pre-window agreements apparently. There you go. Barry Wells says pace and power is the priority. Tetty from Shakhtar has pace and skill, and he's left-footed, says Brainerd. SAM says Leon Bailey. Neil Sattersness Optimum says Dan James.
He's fast.
JS says thoughts on selling Vlasic. We did well with Vlasic. We got money for him. Yeah. We got him. It didn't work out. We sold him on. He's gone to a slower league. He's done really well for them.
And if you get to move to Italy, then good on him. But that's a slow league as well. We're talking about pace and power. Vlasic had no pace whatsoever.
Rob Japan has mentioned Dwight McNeil a few times. I don't want Dwight McNeil. I think he's a skillful footballer, but he's not quick. And I want fast play. Andy DePiv likes him, but...
He'd be a better centre mid in a 3 and number 8. I don't think...
To be honest, I think that's where Rob sees him, as one of your 3 midfield players. But he's not dynamic enough for me. But he does have a nice left foot. I've got to say that, and his goal was brilliant against us. Dylan on the super chat says, who do you reckon we are bringing in up the Toffees? Well, I'm hoping, Dylan, that they've got this lined up. They've got They want a right back. We know that they want a winger, a right winger, left-footed right winger. They'll be looking at a striker because obviously Josh King has left. Well, it'll be announced that Josh King won't be staying. So we need a centre forward, don't we? So that'll be the start. I hope they get a centre midfield player, but there's a lot of stuff going around for a centre back as well at the moment. So I don't know. Barry Wall says I'd take Dan James now. We're so desperate for pacing, that's sad, and he'll definitely be down the pecking order at United. Yeah, apparently they are looking to either loan him out or get rid of him, aren't they? Nathaniel says Rafinha or Traore would have been good. Jaden says, would you sell Gabaman this summer? I don't think anyone would buy him, and I still feel like let's give him a pre-season. If he breaks down again, then I think we can safely say he's probably not going to do anything. But let's give him a pre-season and just see what happens from there, because he's got all the attributes we need. And Carlo himself had 2 years out with injury, so he knows that what it can be like. So
Matthew Barry says David Brooks has played 32 games this season.
Oh, has he? Yeah.
And Bournemouth will be desperate to get his wages off the books. He did sign a big contract, didn't he? We have no players that offer different solutions coming off the bench. It'd be very useful for us. There you go, Matthew Barry, our Welsh player correspondent.
I would have David Brooks. There's no question about it. But again, he would be after we've got what we really need. I would love to have him in the squad so you could mix it up. But I still don't feel like we've got the profile right of what we need, which is pace and power. Nil Satis Nisioptum says Belotti, again, big money from Italy. Is he quick? He's powerful and scores goals.
Good on the ball.
27, isn't he, Belotti?
Haven't we been linked with him before?
Yeah, been linked with him loads of times. Steve P says, what about Anthony from Ajax? Yeah, very good. But he's only young, isn't he? So he's another one, and it's coming from Holland. He'd have to come here and you'd have to let him bed in. And he's one he would have to almost just be dropped in and dropped out of it. I think we need we need someone to go in now, don't we, and make a difference. I don't think we'd sit here as Evertonians, the full fan base, and go, well, we'll take a year of being 12th and 13th, but we'll bet a few of these players, and people won't accept it.
Aye.
So there you go. Like last couple. Leicester have signed Samari for 25 million. Why can't we do deals like this? I don't know. Is the answer. They're on the ball, aren't they? They're on the ball. They're also, I've had 3 or 4 great summers in terms of selling big. So they're FFP. Leicester can plan early and do what they want, because they keep selling big play. If Everton had sold a player a season, then we could have reinvested. Say like last summer we'd have sold Richarlison for 85 million. Then our FFP would be sound. We'd be able to go out and buy players now. But we haven't done that because we tried to keep them. But we'll have to see, won't we?
Apparently, Toffee get 20% of any deal for Bundy.
For Bundy, do they?
Yeah, so that's obviously going to put his fee up, isn't it?
Yeah, they'll be wanting to.
Anything in this? It's Shelik, you've mentioned him before.
Oh, Shelik, yeah.
24.
Well, he's a 24-year-old right back, isn't he? Turkish international. Good on the ball. Not as quick as Max Aarons or Baku, but good defender. Everton looked at him last summer, didn't he? 17 million. So if we've watched them, Lille have won the league, so he's obviously had a good season there. Apparently fancies playing in the Premier League. See what we do with it. So, yeah. Eugene McGeever says thinks Everton will be watching plays in the Euros next month. Brainerd says
too late.
Neres will be perfect for us.
If you need a tournament to decide, a tournament, by the way, which has got nothing in reality about real football. If you decide based on a tournament you're going to sign, you aren't doing it right. You are not doing it right. Simple as that.
You might have a player who you're going to sign those in the tournament anyway, and then that's affirmation, but that shouldn't be where you first highlight. I don't think it will be. I think Everton probably know exactly what they want. Scintillating Skills just quickly says, do you think Alan at CM ship has sailed? He played there a few years ago, but seems too slow for the Premier League, but he's great at CDM. I think if you put legs with him, so decoring, you got another one with him, then if he does abandon his position, other people can fill in because they've got the mobility. I think when he's in with certain players, the minute he abandons that position where he is, well, there's a big hole behind it. And then you just look at him then and go, why are you up there when we needed you there? And his answer to that would be, well, nobody else was up there when we needed them, so I had to go and do it. But we've done a assessment on the midfield where we talk about it, so that'll be out in a few days, so check that out. Paul K from Melbourne says, need to flood the team with pace next season. Absolutely we do. Absolutely we do. Right, we done? Yeah. Okay, that is us. Thanks very much for everyone watching. Thanks for the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Be a patron if you fancy it. Yeah. And also give the Footy Show channel a thumbs up as well. And subscribe if you want a general football chat.
The season review is also out on YouTube now.
Yeah,
so
out on YouTube.
Season review out on YouTube.
We'll be back live tomorrow over on Patreon.
We will.
So get involved in that. Get involved in that. I know our patrons can't wait for us tomorrow to be live. Yeah. We'll see you later.
Bye.